So we are back, episode 54 of the Boston Chris podcast, featuring your mom.
Mhm.
You have to pause there because that's where people are going to snicker and chuckle. And
Yeah.
anyway, we're going to have a little more fun. These are the fun segments that everybody loves on this show. I got 5 or 6 of these, and everybody has to answer these now, okay? So each of you will get an opportunity to answer each of these questions. The first segment is called Mount Rushmore. And the way this is going to work is each of you has to put 4 people up on your Mount Rushmore of most influential artists to you. So you get 4 each on your Mount Rushmore. And we'll go my left to right. So we'll go Tommy, then Alex, then Mara, then Andrew.
I'm going to try to give it a wider range, but let's say Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page, Travis Scott, Lil Jon. Alex?
Okay.
Not even joking.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, could I throw the Beatles in there, like just the entire group?
That's one artist. Yeah, that would be one artist.
Cool. The Beatles for sure. Grateful Dead. My parents loved Grateful Dead and played their music all the time when I was growing up, and I still love their music. I'm going to throw in a couple drummers now. Nate Smith, who's just played with everybody. Seems great drummer, great feel, just the best feel around. And all right, I'm gonna go back to a band. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Okay, nice, love it.
Another one.
Okay, Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham, Joni Mitchell, and Delwater Gap.
Wow, love it. Andrew?
So mine are all bass players. I've got Joe Dart from Wolfpack. I have Pino Palladino. He played with Paul Young, The Who when John Entwistle died, D'Angelo. Then I've got Rocco Prestia from Tower of Power, and then Bernard Edwards from Chic. Those are my
Love it. All right, next segment is called What the Heck? And you guys will love this. This is rapid fire. You have to answer these, just whatever comes into your head, let it come out. No filters. Okay?
That's good. That's how I.
Some of these are fun. Some of these might be funny. Some might be serious. But here we go. First one. Where do squirrels go during hurricanes?
The tree.
Underground.
Underground.
Hoboken, New Jersey.
Jersey.
Next one.
Let's go. All right. If you could listen to one artist for the rest of your life, but as soon as you pick this one artist, everybody else disappears, who would it be?
I'm dealing with that. Lonely. I'll just go Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably the Beatles.
Okay.
Joni Mitchell.
D'Angelo.
I love it. I love how yours wasn't even on your Mount Rushmore.
Exactly.
He's like, yeah, that's who I want to listen to the rest of my life. But by God, we ain't putting him on the mountain.
Oh, is that mine? Well, the bass player for mine.
No, I'm talking about Bob Marley. That didn't make make his Mount Rushmore. All right, number 3. If one Olympic synchronized swimmer drowns, what happens to the rest of them?
Depending on how good the team is, they probably also drown with them, right? Because if they're really trying to stay synchronized, you're only as synchronized as your.
You would think so, because if they don't drown, the French judge is probably not going to give them a good score, right?
No. You must commit.
No.
That's a great answer. We don't even need to. All right, next one. We'll go into the next one. That's a good one. All right, are fat people allowed to go skinny dipping?
That's a good question.
Yes.
All day.
Even more so.
So my wife calls that chunky dunking.
That's in that case, I've gone chunky.
All right, let's do a little bit more serious one here. If you guys could go back in time to witness anything in history, what would it be?
Can you repeat that? Because Andrew was talking.
If you could go back in history to witness anything, what would it be?
I mean, I'm going aggressive and going to Big Bang, but then how would I witness it? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That would be difficult, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pompeii. Actually, that's like horrible, right?
I hope you're standing far away.
So far, we've got two very explosive answers. What about you, Alex?
Oh. I mean, MLK's speech would be pretty powerful to go.
That would be cool. Yeah, I like that. Very cool.
I think the fall of the Berlin Wall would be cool to witness.
You know, that's the most popular answer to that question on the show. Yeah, you're not the first one to say that. Yep.
There you go.
Yep, that's a great answer. All right, next segment is called One Artist. You guys might enjoy this one. If there was one artist you want the entire world to know about, not including yourself, who would it be?
I'd say Rodriguez. From the documentary, whatever, Searching for Sugar Man, but the album Cold Fact and Coming from Reality. But then I would also say like Bob Marley or early Bob Marley. Like these recordings they did between like 63 and 69 are all like with Lee Scratch Perry, or I always think like that specific type. Everyone hears the very like not polished, but professionally recorded quote Bob Marley, but that like early stuff is like wicked, for lack of a better word.
All right, Alex.
Probably say the Replacements.
Great answer.
But they've got a great range of just, you know, they're sorry Marv forgot to take out the trash, just like dirty punk. It's great. And then they've got like Tim and Let It Be and all that stuff, which is more on the poppy side. Just great range. And I wish that everyone knew about them. They're fantastic. So
I think I would say Concrete Blonde.
Nice.
I think for me it would be Theo Katzman. I'm a really, really big fan of his music, and I think it's really good. It means a lot to me.
Love that. I always do that one just because I like to tag them in it, and sometimes they do pay attention, believe it or not. So it'd be cool. All right, next we got a couple more. This one's called Wish List, and this could be interesting. The wish list is basically something that you guys would like to accomplish, like a goal, whether it is somebody you would like to open for, somebody you'd like to co-write with, a venue you'd like to play at, or a city or something like that. Just a goal of yours. What would that be?
I'd love to play Soldier Field in Chicago. I used to work as an usher, like event staff for like Bears games. And I'd always remember just when they put you at your little post, just seeing the big empty stadium and trying to imagine like, you know, they have concerts here. You know, you could technically, if you know, lottery ticket, you could play here if you somehow. It's not guaranteed, but it is like imagine, you know, that sort of thing. That's very like, let's be popular, but you know, I don't know.
That's a great answer. I love that. Alex?
I'd probably say like, I mean, something up that same alley, but like play like a Lollapalooza type festival, or like whether it's like Bonnaroo or Pitchfork in Chicago's going away, but like, you know, some festival like that would be really, really dope to do at some point.
Yeah.
I'd say the Hollywood Bowl, I think.
Hell yeah.
Nice. I think mine would probably be, I think I have loftier ambitions, but the thing I see and want to accomplish the most is playing a venue, playing and filling a venue here locally, like the Metro or Lincoln Hall. Yeah. We just watched the Led Zeppelin documentary, and Jimmy Page was talking about filling the what's the venue in London, the Royal Albert Hall, is that? And talking about going and seeing like all those people there at a venue that, you know, he grew up going to, and I think that would be a wish list thing for me.
I love it. Good stuff. All right, next one is called Personal Best. This is kind of the opposite of wish list. This is, what do you think is your biggest personal accomplishment? And this does not have to be music related. So whatever you think is your biggest accomplishment up till this point.
One summer, I don't know when, maybe a fourth grade or something, I bowled 2 perfect games on Wii Bowling.
Okay. I just want to point this out that this was pre-social media, so there's no proof to this. So,
there's no proof. It's just purely my experience to behold.
It's like those guys in like the villages that said they lifted like 4
You don't
cows.
understand. I had the
Yeah,
wrist.
like-
There's a certain like you have to put it in between these two markers
So-
and angle it to get the
so-
strike.
A comparable story, almost. I didn't bowl a perfect game, but I did tear my labrum trying to throw a javelin on Wii track and field.
Dude.
That's a true story too. I hate to admit it, but
I
there
wonder if
you
that ends
go.
up on insurance forms, like reason for hospital
Yeah.
visit. Totally.
You just write javelin instead of like Wii javelin.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I was wrestling professionally back then, so I told my kids I came off the top rope wrong, but it was 100% Wii track and field.
That's awesome.
All right, Alex.
What you got, Al?
In third grade, I placed first place. There was we were making like remote control catapults. Came in first place with 2 other people. So that I would have to say is like
So tied for first in third grade.
first. I got first.
Okay, Mara, this is tough to beat at this point.
The day I first sang, like in front of anyone, I had a guitar concert for guitar class at Maine South in high school, and I was late to it because I had to go to my soccer game first, and I scored a hat trick, and then ran across the street to the music wing and got on stage with my shin guard still on, and I sang for the first time in front of everyone, and that was like pure ecstasy. I don't know. I was so happy from the hat trick, and then I was happy because I was just, discovering my love of music, and I don't know.
Well, you could have done the Lady Gaga thing and done your entire career in shin guards, but see, you've already lost that now. And Andrew?
I have to say too, I met Jay Leno when I was like 12 months old. When I was like 11. That was a big moment for me. But who's Jay Leno? Are you kidding me?
Do you hear about this? Do you hear about this?
Oh, my God.
They don't know what you like. This.
But if like outside of music, I think that's the greatest thing I've ever done. But in music, I got to play the Library of Congress this past year.
That's
That was
awesome.
really
Alex is like, Jay Leno, did you hear me? Tied for first, bro.
Jay Leno. There's no photographic evidence.
That's so funny, bro. God damn it. My biggest accomplishment, I met Jay Leno. Wait, who's Jay Leno? Just downplaying that shit right away. All right. Oh, gosh. Someday Jay Leno's going to answer that question saying he met the best bassist ever. All right, last one, and this is done like a professional wrestler. So, who do you think you are? Who is your mom?
I thought I was about to go. I am. Do you know the clip of the bowling?
Yeah.
Yep.
Who do you think you are? I am.
Mm-hmm.
But who is your mom?
You're first.
Oh, I thought this was a collective answer.
It is a collective answer.
Oh, it
so
is?
I'm.
My bad.
Your mom is.
I don't know. I think we're 4 friends making music, and wanted to do that for a long time. That's how I think of it. What about you guys?
I have
So-
no idea.
It's hard to answer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's toughy.
Yeah, that's a really hard one to answer. So I know you guys mentioned earlier you got a brand new record on the horizon. Tell us about that and when we can expect it.
So it is finished being recorded and mixed and mastered and stuff. So that's a big step because it's been a really long process. I believe it's 10 songs. Right?
Yep.
It's called Shrinks for Suburbanites because we're all from the suburbs of Chicago and have had therapists at one point.
Just mentally ill in some capacity.
So just so I'm hearing it correctly, you said Shrinks for Suburbanites, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Yes. And we're actually approaching it as, because the music business is so different now, so we're approaching it like as a waterfall release, with a waterfall release strategy. So we're dropping singles.
Yep.
And then the whole album should be out. We should be done dropping all the singles by like July or early August or something. But we are gonna try to press vinyl, like physical copies of the whole thing, and sell those. But we are doing like a single by single rollout.
Well, if you guys do a vinyl copy, I would love a copy of that. That'd be cool.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's you're hoping what, late summer, hopefully release.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can expect a single a month for the next, I think, 5 or some odd months, 4 or 5 months, and then at that point the whole record will be available for streaming online.
So are you? Go ahead.
Hopefully, we'll have the record pressed by then. It's still in the works, but the angle we're trying to take with it is like, if you want to hear the record, if you want to hear it before, like you know, come by the record and listen to it there, and that kind of thing. So but yeah, it's going to come out.
And OCD and Fortuna, they both going to be on this as well.
Of course, OCD, Fortuna, Standby will all be on that record. Yeah, and it's kind of our compromise between trying to play the game a little bit and also, you know, making a full record, which is important to us.
Right. And are there any plans for you guys to start touring outside of your locale?
We did just get booked to play a festival in North Carolina on Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
We've got a lot of other shows like in the works and stuff, but I think majority of this summer is probably going to be in the Chicago area.
Kind of just building our base here a little bit more, I think.
And now that we actually will have a whole album to point people to, I think that will help.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's why I asked that, because usually a lot of times when especially your debut record, you're going to want to travel with it as well and try to get people to hear it that way. We talked about the oversaturated market earlier. That's usually a way to get out of that, right, or beyond that rather, to really get your music to the ears of real music fans. You have to bring it to them. Sadly, of course, it's always been that way anyway. So technology hasn't really changed that all that much. So if people are just hearing about y'all for the first time, where can they follow along with the journey?
Instagram is probably the best way, or Facebook at We Are Your Mom, and our website is weareyourmom.com, and YouTube at We Are Your Mom. Yeah,
it's pretty much like that.
And just so you guys know out there, it's URMOM. URMOM. So
yeah, exactly. Like an insult you would send over text.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. If you don't want to spell shit out, it's that way. Shorthand, right?
Yeah.
So it's weareyourmom.com, weareyourmom.com. It's also at We Are Your Mom pretty much everywhere. I'm assuming the record will be available on there once it comes out. The singles will probably be out there as well. You can follow along with shows and other announcements on the webpage, I imagine, right?
Of course. Yep.
And if people want to know the best way to support you guys, how do they do that?
Well, if you're in the Midwest, Chicagoland area, come out to shows, come and support. That's, I think, a big deal for us is, getting, people in front and performing and everything. Streaming the music obviously is huge.
Adding to playlists, sharing it with friends.
Yes.
Follow us on Spotify, on Apple Music. That's a big deal. And then is the merch system up on the website?
Not yet.
We're in the works of being able to sell merch off of our website. So that's not something we've done up until this point, but very soon you'll be able to buy, T-shirts that say your mom on them on the website. So those are kind of the biggest things for us.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming on with me. This has been episode 54.